Two goals, one puck here on Tuesday, January 3rd. It's a new year. We're looking forward to it. Welcome on in, friends of the channel. We have our six-pack parlay yet again, and we are coming off a 4-2 week. And man, we almost hit our six-pack parlay at plus 5,000 last week. Kadri was one shot on goal. In fact, I think he had 3 shots on goal through 2 periods and just couldn't get that 4 shot on goal in the third. And then we had Arkansas the next day, minus 2.5, and they just blew that game. To be honest, I'm glad the Kadri one didn't hit because I would have been pulling out my hair with the Arkansas cover last week. But still 4-2. It is a profitable week. And as we always talk about here at Grandstand Bettors, you guys should be betting all of our free picks here in this six-pack parlay as actually single bets. The fun of it is, let's put it together for a small parlay. I don't know, put like 0.25 units on it, or even less than that, in all honesty. You know, $1, $2 here or there. But the goal is to be profitable each and every week, and hopefully we can be for you. So welcome into the program. I saw Al was in there. I hope, Al, you're having a great day. But without further ado, let's get into another six-pack parlay here on Two Goals, One Puck, part of Grandstand Bettors for Tuesday, January 3rd. And today we have 2 bets in the NBA, we have 2 bets in the NHL, and we have 2 bets in college basketball. Before we get started, again, prayers go out to Mr. Hamlin and his family. A lot of news coming from last night to tonight. They are going to not play the Bills and the Bengals game this week. Who knows if they eventually play it. Also, I think he was in an induced coma last I read, but he does have a pulse and he's doing well. So that was devastating to watch. We were live on air when it happened. I hope he's doing well. I hope his family's doing well. We're going to move on. It's hard to transition, but let's get into our six-pack parlay. And let's start in the NBA, guys. And before we get into that, reminder, if you are looking at some games that we don't talk about, put it in the chat. We'll see at the end if we can discuss some more games and give you some good picks moving forward. So NBA tonight, we're looking at a full game bet. And don't look now, guys. The Sacramento Kings might be one of the most underrated teams in the NBA this season. These guys, 19-16 on the year, good enough to be tied with the Clippers there for first place in the Pacific Division. And as of late, though, the Kings, they have just been kind of mediocre. They've been 5-5 in their last 10. Defensively, they're having a lot of trouble. They're giving up over 123 points per game in just their last 3 games. Now, the Utah Jazz, they are similar team in the same way. Despite their losing record at the moment, they are clinging on to the 10th seed in the West. They, like the Kings, have not been good over the last couple of weeks here. And defensively, they're giving up over 120 points per game as well in the last 3 games. Now, as bad as these teams are defensively at the moment, they actually do have both very good, efficient offenses. They're both ranked top 4 in the NBA in points per game, and both are top 5 in offensive efficiency. Now, Sacramento, in particular, is one of the best scoring teams in the NBA. They have about nearly a 49% on the year field goal percentage, and recently the Kings have been hitting nearly about 40% from beyond the arc. These 2 teams actually remind us a little bit of the Detroit Lions, as their offense consistently has to outperform their defenses to win games. Now, Sacramento and Utah, they are the 7th and 8th worst defense in the league, and Utah at home has given up over 116 points per game, which honestly is a little bit embarrassing and probably one of the biggest reasons that even if they do make it into the playoffs, they're probably not going to make it too far here. There are a couple offensive weapons that are questionable tonight. Monk and Herter, those are game-time decisions, and I just looked again, and I'm going to look for a third time. They are still up in the air. We don't have anything with them yet. And Colin Sexton for the Jazz is still out with that hamstring issue. But in all honesty, with these teams having some of the worst defense efficiency in the NBA and giving up over 48% from the field, it really, in our opinion, doesn't matter who plays in this one. So with our first play in our six-pack parlay, we're going to take what's a very high total here, but we are going to take the Kings and the Jazz to go over 242.5 points. Now, I do want to stay with the NBA on this small slate. Not many games tonight, but there is a player prop that I'm looking at, and I think we have a huge edge on this one. On paper, not the most exciting matchup in the NBA tonight, as the Celtics, who have the best record in the NBA at 26-11 and are a game up on the Nets in the East, they're going to play the OKC Thunder, who are third worst in the West and are only 4-6 in their last 10 games. The one's bright spot, really, and contributing factor, as we are not looking at the game spread here, is we are going to look at some player props, and that is going to be with Dort. So Legence Dort, that is who we're looking at. That's the bright spot I see with the OKC Thunder right now. Dort is a shooting forward for the Thunder, and he's averaging 13.9 points per game in just about 30 minutes of playing. Now, honestly, Legence Dort is not the most accurate shooter in the NBA. This guy only shoots 39% from the field. But despite that, he puts up a ton of shots, actually 12 shots per game. One would think it'd be much lower with his accuracy. But earlier this year, this guy and OKC played Boston, and he put up 21 points in 35 minutes and shot 7 of 18 from the field. Now, Boston does have a decent defense recently. They have been struggling defending a little bit beyond the arc as of late. 40% last week opponents were against them from beyond the arc. And as we mentioned, Dort, not the best shooter, but he does shoot the ball, and he does it more than you would think, again, from three-point range. There's been 2 times this year that Dort has not put up at least 4 shots from beyond the arc in a game. The last time he played the Celtics, he put up actually 7 threes. In the month of December, Dort alone averaging over 5 shots beyond the arc in each game, and we are seeing him continue to have deep ones shot at home, and that's where they're playing tonight. So with Dort hitting over 50% from 3 in 6 of his last 7 games, we are going to take Legence Dort over 1.5 made threes as our second play in our 6-pack parlay. Now, it is a little juice, but as we put it together in our parlay, it will help that get it over 5,000 to 1 on the 6-pack. But again, make sure your guys are taking these individually as well. That is a good prop bet. I think there's a huge edge. I think it was minus 160, but I do think we have a huge edge because he is going to put up 5, 6, 7 shots beyond the arc. Now, can he hit them? We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Al, speaking with the NBA, I do like Sabonis. I did see his prop. Let me get to DraftKings real quick and see what they have it at right now. I did like his points and his rebounds and assists. I like that prop, honestly, more than anything else. But let me get logged in here on DraftKings and see what they have. By the way, how great is it to be in Ohio, having officially sports betting legalized? Now I can deal with, actual sports books and not that third-party crap from, Costa Rica. So let me bring up his stuff. In the meantime, guys, while I'm looking this up, if you have any questions, if you're looking at a game, please put in the chat. We'll try to give you our best lean if it's not something that's actually on our card. So here we go. Let's see. Kings, Jazz. Let me see. It was at 41.5, I think, last time. Let's see. Points, rebounds. All right, here we go. So he's at, right now, 41.5. It is a little juiced. I'm a little surprised it hasn't moved up at all. To be honest, if you don't want to do points, rebounds, and assists, maybe just taking him at, let's see, points, rebounds, he's at 34.5. Points, what's his point total at? I kind of like his point total, to be honest with you, more than anything, and he's sitting at 20.5. I like his point total, to be honest. I think if you're not going to do the points, rebounds, and assists over 41.5, I think the best play probably out of that with Sabonis is going to be over 20.5 for sure. I do think that is going to be that's what I would take. That's the way I would lean. I think they probably both hit, but I do like his point total, especially with the fact that you're maybe not going to have Monk in there and Herter. So yeah. What's up, Bob? Hey, good to see you, man. Good to see you. Yeah, points, rebounds too. Yeah, either way for sure. Welcome in, guys. Appreciate you stopping by. We've hit 2 plays of our 6-pack parlay. Again, if you have any questions on tonight's slate, please put it in the chat. We'll get to it. But I do want to transition from the courts in the NBA to some ice in the NHL. And we're going to start with a player prop here. And we're going to look at Matthew Tkachuk and the Florida Panthers. The Panthers, they have been in contention for one of the most disappointing teams in the NHL this season. Listen, guys, they're 16, 18, and 4. They're sitting in the 13th spot in the Eastern Conference. They've lost 2 straight. They're 3-7 in their last 10. And with this team, the Panthers, especially on the offensive side, it's a little surprising that they're only putting up 3.24 goals per game. That's not even top 10 in the NHL with that offense. I mean, why this is surprising to us, though, is they have the number 1 shots on goal offense in the league with over 36 per game. So, quite honestly, when you look at this matchup and see that the Coyotes give up the 3rd most goals per game, you kind of immediately want to lean over here. But with shots on goal not necessarily turning into goals for the Panthers, we are going to look at a prop bet here with Matthew Tkachuk. In 35 games this season, this guy has 43 points and is one person that has been lighting up the lamp for the team. He's got 17 goals. The last time that these 2 teams played, the Coyotes actually beat the Panthers 3-1 at home. But the Panthers in that one, they put up 42 shots on goal, only scored that 1 goal. Tkachuk didn't even play that well in that game. He had a -1 rating, and he still had 4 shots on goal. Tonight, I look for the Panthers at home here to have revenge on their mind from that loss earlier this season. But look for Tkachuk again to put up some shots. So with our 3rd pick of our 6-pack parlay, we are going to take Matthew Tkachuk over 3.5 shots on goal. And you can actually get this one at plus money. It's plus 120 on DraftKings. I think there's a good edge there. Again, when he played Arizona earlier, I really think he would had an average at best game, and he still put up 4 shots. I expect the Florida Panthers to match almost 42 shots on goal in this one. And in all honesty, if you want to, and this isn't part of our parlay, but if you want to take a correlation bet tonight, I do like over on saves with the Arizona goaltender, and I'm going to mispronounce his name, Vamelka, something like that. He is in goal, but I think his prop bet right now is sitting at 32.5 saves. I'm not saying that's 100%. That is a lean, but if you want to go in correlation with the Panthers having a ton of goals tonight, I really do think that would be another one that you could add on at your own leisure. But that is our 3rd play. Tkachuk over 3.5 shots on goal. We are going to stick to the NHL for our 4th play here. If you are just coming in, welcome to 2 Goals, 1 Puck. Smash that like button. We are here giving a 6-pack parlay each and every Tuesday. And our 4th play of this 6-pack is going to look at a full game bet in the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Chicago Blackhawks game here. Definitely not very high up on our board here as a matchup that you should tune in and watch tonight, as the Lightning are 3rd in the Atlantic and winners of 3 straight. They will take on the Blackhawks, which is the worst team in the NHL. These guys have lost 4 straight. They've only won 1 game in their last 10. And check this out. They have a -58 goal differential. That's pretty bad this early on in the season. It's going to be a tall order for the Blackhawks tonight, as they will face the 5th best power play unit in the NHL and a top 10 PK unit. Now, on top of all of that, the Blackhawks will most likely go with Alex Stalock. And actually, let me double check that and see who is starting in goal tonight. And it does look like it is going to be, if I can find it real quick, he's still not announced, but it is most likely going to be Stalock in goal. That's their backup goaltender. He just gave up 3 goals to the Blue Jackets on New Year's Eve. And although this guy has a .918 save percentage and only a 2.73 goal against average, he is going to be facing a Lightning team that puts up over 32 shots per game. Now, the common eye, if you're a common watcher of the NHL, it looks like an easy winner, right, for the Lightning. There's no chance the Blackhawks score tonight, especially against Vasilevsky, who most likely will be in goal for them. But we have talked about Vasilevsky a bit this year, and if you listen to us, you know that although this guy has a 2.4 to goal against average. He does struggle a little bit, and it's the first time I can remember he's been this deep into a season where he has not had a shutout all season long. He's coming into this one like Stalock, giving up 3 goals to one of the worst teams in the NHL, the Arizona Coyotes on the road. He's only 6-5 on the road, and the Lightning, they are going to put up goals in this one tonight, at least 4 in my opinion. And at home, the Blackhawks should be able to score a couple here. We think that we're going to have to sweat this one out. I really think it's going to be close. It might come down to an empty net situation late, which it always seems with us. It comes down to an empty net situation late in the third. But with our 4th play of our 6-pack parlay, we're going to actually take here the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Chicago Blackhawks over 6.5 goals. I know, first off, if Vasilevsky doesn't get the start tonight, I like that even more. But Stalock's going to give up some goals, at least 3. And I do think at home here, the Blackhawks in the beginning of the year, they got to change things around. They're going to put up a couple. Vasilevsky always gives up 1, mostly 2 every game. It's going to be 4-2, probably my opinion, with about 5 minutes left. And who knows, we're going to have to probably hope for that empty net goal. But that is our second NHL bet in our 6-pack parlay. We got 2 more left. Again, guys, if there's a game that you'd like us to give you a lean on, please feel free to put that in the chat. But we are going to push forward with our 5th and 6th bets of our 6-pack parlay, and we're going to look to college basketball. And I got to be honest with you, this first one is the probably one play of the 6-pack that I am starting to feel less and less confident about, because I already switched it halfway through the day, and I don't know if I'm on the right side here. So proceed with caution with this one. We're going to look at the MACtion today. Ohio plays Buffalo to start the new year and conference play in the MAC. Now, Ohio has won 3 games against Stetson, Delaware, and Chicago State to end 2022. With the exception of Detroit Mercy, all of their 5 losses have been against some pretty decent opponents that should have them ready to make a run here and maybe win a MAC championship. Ohio, they're averaging 74.5 points per game, and this team is really a poster child of what it's like to play as a team. Although Dwight Wilson and A.J. Brown do lead the way, they're the only 2 players with over 10 points per game. There are 8 different players that average 15 minutes per game, and unlike a team like Notre Dame, who only plays 6 or 7 players every single game, Ohio actually uses 12 to 13. Buffalo, they come into this one having lost 3 of their last 4 games, but like Ohio, to be fair to them, their losses have come at the hands of good teams. Buffalo is just below Ohio offensively, averaging 73 points per game. But like the Bobcats also, they use everybody at their disposal. They have another 8 players that average over 15 minutes per game, with Curtis Jones and Zid Puel there accounting for over 1/3 of their points. So with both these teams offensively looking very similar, you would think that the difference is going to probably come down to the defensive side of the ball. Now, if that's the case, you'd have to lean Bobcats here, as they do give up less points per game, although a smaller shooting percentage they have, and they do a better job rebounding the ball compared to Buffalo. You know, that is where I started to lean Ohio. The Buffalo Bulls, though, they have played some tough competition. In the 7 games that they have lost, they have been against opponents that are combined 60 and 31 on the season. And at home, they're 6-1, with their only loss coming to the James Madison Dukes, who are 11-4 on the season. But that's where I went back to the Buffalo Bulls halfway through today. So what did I come out with? Well, when I really looked at it, this veteran Bobcat team has had some tough competition as well. Their losses come to 42-29 combined record and their opponents. Buffalo, they love to run up tempo, and against most teams, that would be intimidating. But Ohio is poised. They have a stronger bench, in my opinion. They have stronger leadership, and they don't actually turn over the ball. You know who does turn over the ball quite a bit? That's the Bulls of Buffalo. They're almost last in Division I with over 15 turnovers per game. So I got to be honest, I started with Ohio this morning. I went to Buffalo, and now I'm back at Ohio. So with our 5th play of our 6-pack parlay, I did end up taking the Ohio Bobcats. I got them at +1. I don't think they're at +1 anymore. I think they actually went to -1 Let me give you the exact. That actually tips here in 25 minutes. They are sitting at -1. So you can still get them at -1. It really won't change anything with the parlay. It was both juiced at -110 on the spread there. So yeah, I went with Ohio. That's probably the weakest play in this one that I feel confident about, but who knows? Who knows how it'll go? I do have one more left in college basketball, and it's parlay play of this week here on Tuesday, January 3rd. And we're going to look at what I think is going to be the game of the night. It starts again here in 25 minutes, very shortly at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPNU. It's against Mississippi State and Tennessee. And Mississippi State won 11 straight games to open up the season, but now has lost 2 straight against Drake and Alabama. Most people would think that Drake's loss was a bad loss. But if you really know college football and you watch this Drake team, you know they're a good program, and they should be on the bubble or absolutely in the tournament this season. The offense of the Bulldogs hasn't been great. They're only averaging 68 points per game, but it's their defense that is carrying them. They have the 4th best defense in college basketball, holding opponents to 54.5 points per game. Now, with that said, we're not really sold on this defense, okay? I mean, you're talking about they're playing offenses like Omaha, Mississippi Valley State, Jackson State, Nichols, and Arkansas Pine Bluff. That's going to skew your defensive stats just a bit. Tonight, it should be a good test for them as they will play Tennessee, who's averaging 74 points per game and is 11-2 on the season and now ranked 8th in the nation. Tennessee has 5 different guys who average over 10 points per game, and that has helped them be number 3 in scoring margin in college basketball. These guys are averaging about 20 points plus per game against their opponents. When it comes to defense, though, the Vols, if they looked at the Bulldogs of Mississippi State and said, hold our beers, because they are actually 3rd overall in giving up only 53 points per game. One catalyst, though, that is behind that defense is really their emphasis on forcing turnovers. 6 most turnovers they forced in the nation coming into this one. Honestly, we looked at this one, and you kind of look at it, and we wanted to take with a low total. We wanted to take Mississippi State, and we thought that might be the way to go, given the low total and how their defenses are. But as I mentioned, I'm not really sure that Mississippi's defense is actually for real, and it's going to be hard to keep this Vols team under 70 points with that one. Or in this one. So now this is going to be a surprisingly low total here, and I actually think that the books have over-evaluated both of these defenses, and that's why it's sitting at 122.5. I think that's too low. So with our last best bet of our six-pack parlay, we are going to take Mississippi State and Tennessee over 122.5 points tonight. So that does it for our six-pack parlay. If you have any questions or you're looking at games, put them in the chat. I see Al said, what do you think about Virginia? You think they cover against Pittsburgh and stay under? Let me go to my notes and let me look at that game. I did look at that a little bit. I did not pull the trigger, but let me see what I have. Okay, so I think it's going to be close. I had it at 5.9. I had Pitt at 5.9, but I did actually have it over 126. I had it 2.5, 3 points over 126. To me, Al, good luck to you, man. That's on you, buddy. You pull the trigger on that. To be honest, I hate betting Virginia. It's just an offense and a defense that I just stay away from, because there's games, and there's been Notre Dame games where it's gotten a little higher scoring than you would think. Although there's been Notre Dame games with that burn offense where, it's been like 40 to 39 with 5 minutes left to go in the game. So I don't know. That's a hard one for me. If I had to lean to one bet or the other, I'd say probably with the low total, Pittsburgh with the spread's probably the better bet there. But I think I actually I have a bigger edge on the over in that situation. So I don't know. I do have it a little lower or a little higher. I have it 2.5 points higher. If it's still at 126, which let me check what the line is now. 127. So it has gone up a little bit. So the money obviously came in a little on the high, and it's a 6 point still. We can look at that though. Let me see if I can find where the money's coming in, just to give that overview. I don't really like to use where the money's coming in on games that I bet. I definitely go off of my own stuff, but let me take a look and see where the money is coming in on this one. Let's see here. All right, Virginia, and the money is coming in. So the money's coming in. So the money is coming in on the under, but it went up by half a point. So that's a little bit of reverse line movement there. The money is coming in on Pittsburgh, right? So let's see. What did that game open as? Let me see what that opened as. Money's coming in on Pittsburgh, but let's see. It opened as, was it a 6 point? Where are they at? Okay, it opened as 4.5. So the money's coming in on Pittsburgh, but they're becoming larger favorites. So I mean, if you follow that, then I guess the best bets there would be Virginia and the over. But I mean, I'm not a person to always follow money, but that's just some knowledge, some more knowledge for you. But yeah, that's a great question. If anybody else has anything, please put in the chat momentarily. But I'm just going to recap our 6-pack parlay here. We got Dortz over 1.5 made threes. Sacramento, Utah over 242.5. Tampa Bay, Chicago over 6.5. Matthew Tkachuk over 3.5 shots on goal. Ohio, we got them at +1. They're -1 right now. And Mississippi State, Tennessee over 122.5. If you parlay all those together, you're going to take a $10 bet and turn it into $517. Now, listen, guys, again, I always say, please bet them single, and you're going to be more profitable. I would do like half a unit on all of them singly, and then like, I don't know, a very small amount on the parlay itself. It's going to help your bankroll. You're not going to consistently give money to the sports book on just betting parlays. It's not a profitable way. We just do it for the entertainment factor. But yeah, that's what we got here. It's been a great week. I hope everybody has had a wonderful start to their new year. I hope we can go 6-0 and hit our 6-pack parlay. But at the least, let's have a winning night. Everybody have a great rest of your night. We'll see you next Tuesday, which will be January 10th. And let's cash some tickets tonight. Have a good one.